Hey everyone, so Jellybean here with some CallToArms Hell-Ostfront tutorials. At this time we're talking flame tanks. So obviously a lot of new players have probably bought the game in the Steam sale, and you're probably a bit confused with the flame tanks and which ones are good, which ones aren't, which ones are more specialised, and which ones are kind of multi-role tanks with a flamethrower included. So hopefully this will clear it up, and also I'll tell you which ones I prefer. So we'll start with the big lads. We've got the KV-8 here, and he has a 45mm main gun, which is hidden inside a 76mm barrel to disguise the tank to the enemies. He has 3 machine guns, front coaxial. He has hull MG. He also has a rear firing machine gun, which is pretty cool. And then he also has a turret mounted flamethrower. And the only bad thing about this tank I'd say is you're lacking a very powerful main gun compared to like T-34. You've had to sacrifice that, so you're a bit vulnerable to tanks. And his flamethrower does lack much ammunition in the magazine. It's only 10, so like this is one burst. And as you can see, it has to reload. It can't deploy much flame at once, but it does have a lot of it. But it also is very heavily armed, so it is a good kind of multi-role flame tank. Definitely more useful early war, I'd say, when you haven't got to worry about so many heavy armoured enemy tanks and so much strong German anti-tank. Next we have the T-34-85 or AT-34-85, and this has an 85mm main gun, powerful coaxial machine gun, and it has a hull mounted flamethrower, so you only get, well, this is about as much movement as you get from it. As you can see, you can only fire basically in a small arc from the hull there, which means to actually hit targets to the side and rear with flames, you'd have to move the tank around, which makes it quite vulnerable. So you have to be a bit careful on these sort, because if you're moving to hit, let's say, an infantry guy here, you'll have to shift the tank to the right, and AT guns can take advantage of that. Like the KV-8, it only has 10 fuel in the magazine for the flamethrower, so even though it carries a fair bit of fuel, it's not that effective as a flamethrower because it's small bursts, but it can be useful. But it's probably the best multi-role because you still have that powerful main gun. It's basically all the benefits of a T-34-85, but with a flamethrower chucked on, which is pretty good. Next we have the T-34-1943, which is a T-34 standard 76mm gun. It's coaxial MG, and it's got the same hull-mounted flamethrower. Same pros and cons as the 85, but less powerful main gun. So basically, you're better off picking this over this. But this is early war. It's still a pretty decent tank overall. You can fight enemy tanks, enemy infantry, and you do get that flamethrower to add in on destructive effect. Next, we've got the Panzer III Flam. As you can see, it has no main gun as a turret. It has 2 MGs, but it has a very large magazine flamethrower. As you can see, that has 510 fuel loaded in and 510 in reserve. It means you can fire it for about 30 odd seconds, just burn everything. So that is definitely a more specialised flame tank, but it lacks any kind of main anti-tank gun. So any tank that tries to engage out of your flame range that you couldn't light on fire will kill you probably. And it is a bit risky, so it needs to be supported by other German tanks to be useful, but it's a very effective flame tank. Then the last one is the Russian KHT-130, which as you can see is a very light tank. It has a machine gun and a flamethrower turret, but it has no main turret like gun, but it has 200 flame in the magazine. So like the Panzer III, it's a very specialised flamethrower tank. Even though it's very lightly armoured, if you support this with other Russian tanks, it will torch everything. So in my opinion, these are the best actual flame tanks because of those large magazines. They can really light a lot of buildings on fire, light a lot of forest on fire. The overall best tank, I'd probably say, is the T-34-85 because it mixes, good armour, good weapon, and it gets a flamethrower as well as a bonus. My personal favourite is the KV-8 because it's just so difficult to kill. It'll just sit there and keep getting hit and hit, and its flamethrower is a coaxial in the turret, which means you've got, you can move the flamethrower around. So even if it gets immobilised, if infantry are trying to push forward, you can, spin the turret, especially with your rear turret there, and you can just pump out some fire like so. So it does help with that, whereas these are hull mounted. So hopefully that's cleared up a bit of knowledge about flame tanks for you. Obviously most of them, the fire is about a 70-metre range, so you are going to be in range of Panzerfaust and Shreks and bazookas, so you've got to be a little bit careful there, but they're definitely a good addition to the army. And when you're playing Conquest, do have a look on the research tree and think, will a flame tank supplement my forces? Will it be useful in matches like this or maps like this where there is buildings and you might potentially want to torch them up. So if you light a building on fire, it will spread and kill all the infantry inside, and sometimes the buildings do collapse. Anyway, that's the tutorial. Hope you've enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great day.